For nearly 2 years, an historic number of candidates from both parties have each vied to get their shot at winning the presidency. But now we have reached the point where we have two tickets, two parties, and an historic election that is just getting started. So, welcome to Election Night 2020. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Election Night 2020. I'm Jason Agala, and tonight I'm going to take you through state by state the results of the presidency, the Senate, the House, and local races here in North Carolina. I hope all of you take a moment and to just relish the time of year this has been and the election we've had. It's been a long wait, but we made it to the end, and tonight I'm here to bring in the results and make sense of it for you. So let's get started. So first, we're going to start with presidency. So we're going to start with nationally. So for those of you who do not know, or if you want a refresher, it takes 270 electoral votes to become president of the United States via our electoral college and have elect presidents. Each state is apportioned a certain number depending on all the representatives in Congress, and there's 538 total. And the other night, from east to west, poll closings, as polls close from the east coast to west coast, electoral counts of each candidate will grow. And as we get closer to 270, we'll get a better picture of who's going to be the next president of the United States. So right now, we start with looking at the map. So right now, nationally, 4% of the votes in right now. I expected 150 plus million expected votes to be kind of counted tonight in the next few days. But right now, Donald Trump, the president, is in the lead with 11 electoral votes, and Biden in second place with 3 electoral votes. Trump has been declared the winner in Indiana, where he has done significantly well. That is, of course, the home state of his vice president, Mike Pence, and he is leading there by a significant portion right now, 66%, 66.7%, to Biden's roughly 33%. Right now, 10% of votes in, but it's a heavily Republican state. Has only voted for Democratic once since 1964, and it has been won by Donald Trump. But we can't talk about elections. We can't talk about elections tonight without mentioning the third parties. So the Libertarian vote, which is the candidate for president for Libertarians, is Jo Jorgensen. We can't forget her, as well as Howie Hawkins for the Green Party. Their vote totals will be very important as we get later on to the more contested states, where how many votes they get matters in the margins that each candidate, Donald Trump or Joe Biden, has and how they're leading each state. But right now, we're looking at mainly the safe states to begin with. Right now, Trump's getting about 67% of the vote, and he's been declared the winner there. Next, we turn to Vermont. Traditionally and recently, it's been a heavily Democratic state, has been won by Democrats since 1992, and of course, there, Joe Biden has won the state of Vermont with, as you can see, 62.7% of the vote. Trump's 37.3% of the vote. Now, polls have closed so far before 7:30 in 6 states. In Indiana, where it's been called, Kentucky, Virginia, South Carolina, Georgia, Florida, and Vermont. Now, in Kentucky, it's too early to call. 17%. Trump's leading by about 14 percentage points. He's been leading. It's been going back and forth, but he's been growing his lead ever since about 7 p.m. ish. And right now, he's on his way to victory in the bluegrass state. Right now, Joe Biden is 41% to Trump's 56.7%. We're also looking at a very close Senate race. If you want to go to that real quickly, let's take a look at the Senate race between the Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell and former lead Air Force Air Force pilot Amy McGrath. So right now, as you can see down there, McConnell is leading by about 10 points. Originally, McGrath was in the lead because of vote totals from the heavily Democratic and suburban counties of Lexington and Frankfort, as you can see there down there. And Louisville wasn't counted yet. That's a pretty Democratic area. We haven't heard that, but most of these other counties are Republicans. So those are starting to come in, and we'll be going towards Mitch McConnell. But he's expected to win this election. So let's go back to presidents. That's what we're focused on right now. And also let you know, about 3 minutes or so, polls about to close in 3 more states. In Ohio, major battleground, as well as here in North Carolina. But North Carolina, due to some polling issues, isn't going to be actually releasing results to 8:15. Sorry, so we won't be seeing results for North Carolina for a little bit. But turning another background state, let's look at Georgia, a very, very key important state. In Georgia, 16 electoral votes, won by Trump last time around by roughly about a few points or so. Hasn't gone Democrat since 96, but since 92, sorry. But right now, Biden is in the lead by about 10 points. But so far, it's mainly these blue counties or the suburban counties around Atlanta and some in Savannah down here in Augusta. But these red counties are pretty low population right now. But there's a ton of Republican vote all down here in the South. They haven't been counted yet. In most of the states, they're counting their early votes. And we've seen that as that more registered Democrats have been voting early. So the pre-election day votes are coming in now, and then election day will come later in the night. And that usually tends to favor Republicans historically. But right now, we're getting the first results in from the early vote. This is most likely not the election day, today's vote, but from early votes. This is at least going to be skewed somewhat towards Biden. But you see right now, Biden's leaning about 53.3%, 45.6%. And there's also 2 special elections there there's 1 special election there for Senate and 1 regular election for Senate there as well. But we'll get to that later. And now we head to Florida, major battleground state, probably the must-win state for both Donald Trump and Joe Biden, but more so for Donald Trump. That's most of his ways to get to 270 is through the Sunshine State. So right now it's very close, but so far so many people have voted in early in Florida, and they've been able to count so quick. They've been able to process it days before. Over half the expected vote is already in. And look at this. Biden is in the lead. Trump 49.6 to Trump's 49.5%. Roughly, look at this. Oh, he just came in the lead. Okay, Donald Trump is now in the lead. We've just got some reports in from more precincts in from the Western state and more the central area. So now Donald Trump is in the lead with 59% of voting in Florida. This is going to be a very close one race, and you might be able to project this one within the next hour or two. Very close one to watch there in Florida. No Senate races there this year. And the last state that we're going to look at today, right now, for president is we're going to look at 2 more states, Virginia and South Carolina. Now in South Carolina, look at this. In Virginia right now, Trump is in the lead. He lost the state by about 5 or so points in 2016. It's been trending heavily Democratic because up here the northern DC suburbs are mainly what's driven Virginia from heavily Republican to more Democratic. So mainly up here, this area right here, Loudoun County right here, and a bunch of other counties in the top have been trending more Democratic. So this is mainly the early vote, and you see tons of Republican counties down here in the western part are going to go heavy for Trump. So these ones are going to favor him initially. This is what happened last time around. He was leading in Virginia early, but then when Richmond and the suburbs of DC started coming in, it started going more towards her, and she won. This one's projected, well, not projected yet, but expected, sorry, so for Biden. But we'll keep an eye on this one as we keep going. No elections there for Senate, I don't believe. And then finally, look at the next state that has closed, which is South Carolina. South Carolina, probably one of the most Republican states that have closed so far. And right now, it's Trump's leading by almost 3/4 of the vote. It's very, very early. It's gone Republican in every election since 1976 when Jimmy Carter won it, but he was from Georgia, so he was pretty much his son. But before that, it went I believe Democrat every election since 60, I think, or 60. Sorry, Republican every election since 60, I think. But right now it's about uh, less than a percentage point in. But right now Trump's in the lead about 71%, and mainly in this area, the Columbia area and the Charleston area is where most Democratic votes will come in if Joe Biden was going to make the lead. We are watching a Senate seat here with Lindsey Graham and Jamie Harrison, the Democrat. You might recall that Jamie Harrison, he broke the record a few weeks ago with most donation to him in any Senate campaign in history. So he's been fundraising pretty heavily. But right now, Graham in the Senate is winning by about very early. This is not going to be anywhere near. It's going to be much closer than this because these counties, Republican ones, Horry County, Myrtle Beach is at. These ones up here in Spartanburg, very Republican. Those are going to go for Lindsey Graham by landslide amounts. But right now, see, it just got a little closer now. So we're watching this one very closely because the Senate right now is divided 53 Republicans, 47 for Democrats, and I think roughly 20 or so seats are up. And it's been very interesting to watch as we head west because there's more competitive seats out there for Senate, as well as North Carolina, right here, North Carolina, and South Carolina. We're going to be watching this one very, very closely. It's getting tighter and tighter, as you can see. But now the polls have closed in 3 more states. They've closed in Ohio, West Virginia, and in North Carolina. And real quickly, let's look at the popular vote right now. Trump's got about 50.2% of the popular vote, and Biden's got 48.3% of the vote. Now, keep in mind, Now, keep in mind, 4 years ago, all these states that have been projected so far, just 2 right now, were projected for a Democrat for Joe. So Joe Biden state, he's won. They won for Hillary Clinton in 2016, and the Republican state of Indiana went for Trump in 2016 as well. But this is what happened last time around. Don't worry about that. Look right here. So this one, I'm gonna be showing you a lot. This is a pretty in-depth. I like this website. It gives you has all the election results from last time around, and you can look at every state and counties. I can go to every county and see, we can compare results. But keep in mind that the reds on here are not the same reds. So reds are Republicans, usually reds, Republicans, and blues, Democrats, what major networks that people use to classify states when they're called. But this website, they use Democrats are red and Republicans are blue. So that's interesting to keep in mind. So all these blue states were actually Trump states 4 years ago. These red states were actually Clinton states 4 years ago as well. But for example, if we just look at, for say, Georgia, he won it by 5%, and right now he's winning it by let's see, he's winning. Wait, right there. But he's losing it by the same money. So it's pretty much flipped around. So now he's losing by about 5 points or so ish. But this is very, very early. It's not going to be projected within the next hour or 2. It's going to be a very, very close race for me watching. But in Ohio, polls just closed. We've got no results in yet, but that's going to be a very, very close one right there. West Virginia, that's going to be solid. I can tell you right now, no votes are in, but I can tell you that's going to be solid Trump because that went for him by he got nearly 70% of the vote in 2016, and it's a very Republican state, has Republican roots for the past 30 years, been very, very Republican, very hard Democrats to compete there. That's 5 electoral votes, and that's expected to go for Trump, but that's not projected yet because we don't have any votes there yet. But right now, as you go to South Carolina, see Trump still winning by a large margin. That'll probably be projected sometime next hour or so as it goes a bit closer. But Florida, keep in mind, Florida. Look at this. This is I've never seen this on election night before. Look at this. Almost 70% of the vote is in. Look at this. This is amazing. I've never seen it go this fast before. Look at this. The polls are still open in the western part of Tallahassee, and the polls closed almost less than 40 minutes ago, and 66% is in. Just for comparison, I believe this time around last time we were only at around 20, 25%. So we're looking at Marion County is probably right there too. They're significantly counting more votes here than they did last time around because so many people voted early and they can count those days in advance. So they get able to reject most of it. But where we're going to watch more in Florida is the last 10%, even the last 5% is going to make a difference of who wins the state. So very, very close election there. Very interesting thing to look at right now. As you can see also down here, Joe Biden 50.2, Donald Trump 48.9, and Joe Jorgensen, Libertarian, is about 0.5% right now. Right now, Florida haven't been projected yet, but it's getting very, very close, and we'll be probably projecting it within the next I'll probably expect that in the night we're going to have a winner here. Unless we get very, very close to one, then it's going to be a long night, boys. So, folks, sorry, not boys, but folks. So, so right now, let's go Ohio. Ohio, nothing in. West Virginia, nothing in. North Carolina, waiting to 8:15 to release their votes, so we're not going to get into any information from there. But let's look at Senate right now. Actually, you know what? Let's take a look at the House. So the House of Representatives, as you might know, is 435 members and 218, and they're all elected every 2 years, every single one of them. So, and you need 218 control. Right now, the Democrats control it by around 230 or so. But right now, some of the early states are being called. We're projecting that so far 16 GOP seats have been won, and 5 for Democrats right now, mostly in these states right here. So those will keep going as we hit. Oh, I think one has got a new one. Yep, there you go. Another house. Oh, look at it. Another house in Kentucky just got. Oh, and that was in Virginia. Virginia, they just objected a winner in Virginia because one of the House seats, no one's running against them. But obviously, but look at this. We've had another seat. These are going to be very, very quick because there's so many House seats. Very, very quick, it's going to go up. But those we should know roughly, usually, by the time we get over to when California closes, which will be right around 11 or so Eastern Standard Time, we'll know who controls the House. But turn to Senate now, Senate's a little different. They elect about a third of their senators every 2 years. So not all senators are up for re-election this year. A third of them are. And right now, there's 35 seats up this year. And some of them in competitive states like North Carolina, South Carolina, Georgia, there's 2 election seats because there's a special election there too as well. Texas is competitive. Montana, Arizona, Colorado, and Maine are pretty much the main competitive ones as we're going to be watching for as we go over the course tonight. But right now, no matter what happens tonight, the Democrats are going to have at least 35 Senate seats by tonight. Republicans are going to have at least 30 House seats, 30 Senate seats up, at least 30 seats because those seats aren't up for re-election this year. So right now, look at this. Georgia is looking right here. Georgia, here we go. Look at this. So right now, the 2 Senate seats, the first one on top, seat 1, that's against the incumbent David Perdue against Don Ossoff, which is a Democrat there. And in Georgia, it's against Kelly Loeffler is a Republican, the Republican who's the incumbent, who's the red down there. And Warnock there, that's another Democrat candidate. But in Georgia, though, they have a system where you have to get 50% of the vote in order to win on election night, or else it goes to the runoff. So you can have the most votes at the end of the night, but you won't, if you don't cross the 50% threshold, it's going to go to a runoff, and that's expected to go for both any of these 2 seats. If that happens, no candidate gets majority, then it'll be in January is when the runoff will be, especially in the second one because there's I think 5 or 6 people running for Senate and like pretty balanced Republican Democrats. Right now in Georgia, looks like David Perdue is 5% in, is leading right now, and looks like he's right now he's holding off runoff. He could win this election outright tonight. But Georgia C2, that's very look down there. It's not even near 50%. So that one is very likely to go into runoff. But besides that one, not a whole lot of Senate seats up except for Mitch McConnell's seat. in Kentucky. There you go, right there. See, 57.3 from McConnell, the House Republican Majority Leader, and Amy McGrath, who's a Democrat challenger, and she's down by about a little less than 20 points or so, by 18 points, but that'll probably be called in the next hour or two because 20% in. And as we head later on, I'll be back in about 25, 15 or so minutes when we go to the 8 o'clock hour, and we'll get another update. But that's where the race stands in the Senate right now. This is where it stands in the for president right now. Trump 11, Biden 3, House is same, a little bit early too. 17 Republican, 3 Democrat, 218 for control, and 270 for president, and 51 for Senate. So right now, very, very early, but we're getting some interesting results in right now. Trump leading the popular vote. Biden's up in Florida. Yeah, Biden's up in Florida. Trump's up in Georgia. Trump's up in Virginia. Oh, yeah, Trump's up in Virginia. He's won Indiana. He's up in Kentucky significantly. So that'll probably be called for the next few minutes or so. But thank you for joining me for our first session. And when we get to 8 o'clock hour, I'll be back and we'll continue on. So I'll see you guys there.